the economy is not very strong at the moment. What is there an argument that can be made that service, whether in military, Peace Corps, or any of these other programs, would actually enhance one's ability to find a job and establish a career?
There has been several cost-effectiveness studies, one that was done recently by Columbia University. I'm forgetting the name of the author of the report, but it was very persuasive. It was for $1 invested in public service, you got a $4 return. So there is a fiscal argument as well as an argument about all of the various things that ail our nation, inner city lack of teachers, a need for climate change and conservation initiatives, preschools for young kids, service for senior citizens. There's so much need out there that is obvious and that could be met through service. So there's a social benefit that I think is pretty clear and tangible, but there's also a fiscal argument that has been proven, but we haven't done a good job of promoting that.
No. I don't think we've used the data well enough, gathered it, or looked at it hard enough. We intuitively know there'll be less young men in prison. We intuitively know that you're going to be a better college freshman if you decide to go to college if you've done a year. I would have been a better cadet at West Point if I'd gone off and done something completely different for a year. I couldn't have been a worse one. So that's where I'm sure about my data. But I think we've got to be able to show people, because I think economically it would pay. But again, hard data is going to give, particularly people who are going to make budgets, it gives them the kind of substantive proof that they can use to leverage.
Frankly, we do a lot of thinking about this because we are always having to prove that $1 invested in Peace Corps is worth $1 invested somewhere else. And we feel that you need two things. You need data, hard data, and you need stories. Yeah. Data will win you money, but stories will win you hearts. And you can't have a situation without both.
But this isn't going to be all paid for by the government. How is this actually going to work?
No, and because somebody's undoubtedly going to ask the question, right now, if you go to 1 million kids, it's about $22 billion a year to fund that. That's the calculation. So that's not a small amount of money. We don't think it's going to be a federal program for $22 billion. We think it's going to be a public-private partnership that's going to involve some federal funding, and there's already some under the Serve America Act. It's going to involve companies supporting. It's going to involve private philanthropy. And with the kind of platform that's being put together, a digital platform to help connect people with opportunities, there's also the ability to do crowdfunding. And so there are a number of different ways, and I think that as we get momentum in this, the ability to fund, $22 billion sounds like a lot, but if you really look at it, it's not. And if it gives a positive payoff, then I think it's a small investment to make.
And I think most Americans think we're investing far more in programs like AmeriCorps and Peace Corps and others than we actually are.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think there's actually a much greater appetite than we've realized. The other thing I would say is that Americans are very philanthropic, and a lot of the receiving organizations of programs like AmeriCorps and NCCC are in fact organizations that are largely funded by philanthropists or foundations or other corporate foundations or what have you. It's already happening. It just has to happen on a larger scale.